I'm going to show you an amazing procedure on how to strip this old cabinet behind me here from that Treadle sewing machine. It's a process that I've developed over the years in how I do stripping. There's a secondary process that I developed. I'll show you that right at the beginning, and then we'll jump right into the stripping. I'm Marv from Marv's Fixit shop, and I've been stripping furniture for over 50 years. My motto says I use new to bring life to the old, but I try to use the old as long as I can and as often as I can. Let's jump right into this project. I've started the disassemble process on this, and let's just keep going with that. Right now I'm trying to get these screws out right here. In any furniture stripping, when you're stripping, if you can disassemble it, that will make your project so much easier. Slotted screws, if you got the right screwdriver, they will come out. It's just that they developed Phillips for a reason. And that reason being, they're just so much easier to get out. Now they got different kinds of screws. These had square head. Oh, all different kinds. Torque head, square head, Phillips head, different size Phillips head. I may put different screws in this thing. It's a lot of work to get one part off. Now, let's see about finishing this up. Taking these spring-loaded hinges off. I'm taking this apart, and let me tell you, it's a lot easier to take apart than it will be to put back together. Trying to figure out where all these little pieces go. And what is holding this together now? I do not know for sure. So I'm just going to leave it. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if this would come apart yet, it would make it a lot easier, but let's take one of these braces off and just see what's underneath here. I think all these braces are doing is to help support the whole thing from busting at this seam right here. Yep. Because this appears to be glued on. So, with this glued and this glued and this glued together, this is going to stay as one piece. It'll just be a little harder to get, but I don't want to break those glue joints. It's not that I couldn't fix them. When it comes to wood, I know how to fix wood. But when it comes to busted cast treadles, I have to call in an expert. I wonder if that makes me an expert on wood. I doubt it. Oh, okay. Right there's the pieces. So let's get started with these pieces first. I want to show you a process that I learned a long time ago on restoring old finish. But on this particular piece, I am going to strip it, but I want to show you that process. So let me get that set up and we'll get going on it. What I have here is a product by Howard's called Restore a Finish. They make several different colors. I would typically use a darker one on this cabinet, but this is what I have in my shop, so I'm going to use it for demonstration purposes only. And I'm going to go through the process. I've done this once before on this cabinet to try to show you how it works, but since I got it apart, I'm going to go through it again. There's Restore Finish as the first step. Defeat and Wax, which is a conditioner for the wood, the second step. And then as a bonus step, I usually put the orange oil on to give it its luster. This whole process takes less than, on a piece like this, just a little piece here, probably less than a half hour or 45 minutes to do. And if you can save the finish, that's a lot easier than refinishing it. But like I said, on this particular piece, I think I'm just going to go at it and refinish it, but let's see how this turns out. What you want to do is get you a piece of 4/0 or 40 steel wool and open up your Restore Finish if it'll open. And what I do is I saturate my steel wool with the finish. Now, like I said, typically I would use a Restore a Finish. I would use the darker one to get to take any little nicks and crannies out of it or that may have developed over the years. And so what I do is just put it on really heavily and let it soak into the wood good and just keep rubbing it. You can see that some of that grain's already starting to come out. And just keep it up like that. Let it sit there for just a minute. We're going to grab this piece right here. Just noticed this has domestic written across it. Look at that. Let's see what this piece looks like with it on. It's not quite as dark as this one. And let's just see what happens. Now this one actually it's bringing that finish right back out the way you'd want to see it. Okay. If it would all finish up like this, I wouldn't strip it. But you can see that it isn't. Okay, we'll let that set. You can see how that soaked that up in this here. This wood is so dry. Then I take a rag and I just wipe the residual off. And that's what I'm doing here. And that's it. That's all there is to that particular process. The next process is taking your feed and wax, putting it on your rag, best you can. I'll just put it right there. And you rub that down in to your finish, or your wood. You just let it set. This, you can let set overnight if you want. What's that doing is putting the wax back into your wood, which a lot of this wood has lost it. And let's see what it does here. Yep, that's helping that. And see, I found that you can really do a lot of good with this wood by just doing and going through this process. Let's just see how this turns out. We'll let that set a few minutes and then we'll wipe it off. I really like to put this stuff on heavy so that wood can really soak it up. This is dried out and probably sat in the house for over 100 years without having anything done to it. So we'll let that set a few minutes and then I'll bring you back in and we'll take a look at it. I went ahead and did these two pieces also, and you can see how saturated I have them. And I even added more to these pieces because they kept soaking it up. And quite honestly, I think I need to let this set overnight and probably even put some on the back side of it so that the wood on that side gets absorbed with this oil, because it's this oil that's going to preserve. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. You can just see how that's just soaking in like crazy. And that is really going to preserve that wood. And it just has years and years of drying out where the wood had nothing at all to put on it for treatment. And let's look how that's soaked in there. Let's add some more to that. Put it on with my hands. This stuff really makes your hands soft. Look at that. That just needs to set on there for a while now and soak in good. You can see how that front's looking. Bringing those lines right back out. I want to tell you, I'm tempted to finish this like this. There's only one really bad piece, and let me get that and show it to you. This piece right here is the piece that the head set in, and you see how dark it is here? That's where that oil from the machine has over the years soaked into the sewing machine. This would have sat just like this. And this right here was the back side of the main hub where the belt comes up through here and here. And this would have been a heavily oiled area in the machine. I'm going to go at it and put that product on here and see if that cleans up a little bit. You want to watch me? Okay. I'll let you come along and watch then. I'm going to hone in so you can see this part specifically. And it's like I did before. Generously put it on there and let's see what happens. I'm pretty certain we're not going to be able to get all the black out of it, but maybe enough that it brings out at least a grainy look of the wood. And if we can do that, I may go get the I just may forget the stripping of this and use this finish, restore a finish, because I like saving the integrity of the existing way more than I like stripping clear down. It brought a lot of it out. Let's wipe the residue off. It's still pretty dark, but at least I'm reading some of the grain through there now. Like I said, I don't think I can get it all out, but boy, I like the way it's turning out. Let's rub a little bit more on that. I guess if I leave the blackness in there, at least some of it, what I can't get out is just all part of the character and the natural aging of the product. Let me give you an example. You ever noticed on some of the movie stars how all of a sudden their necks look real tight and their eyes are real tight and something just doesn't look right about them? Well, that's the same thing here. They're trying to get rid of the aging process of who they are, who they really are, to try to hold on to their youthfulness. But to me, that's just going down a dead end. You need to save as much of the old as you can. It's like this, for instance. You see this right here, and this, and this. This correlates right where Grandma Nor, Grandma Philippine would have been threading her bobbins, or whatever you call those little, I call them Hot Wheel axles. And that shows a little bit more wear right there. Well, that makes sense to me, because that's where she would have been working. So why wouldn't you want to just keep that like that? I'm going to just restore this finish and not strip it. I like that process so much better. And with these pieces disassembled like this, where I can get to everything very easily. Let's see how this turns out. This is the front, and we'll go ahead and put this on. And we'll let it set a minute. We'll turn it over and do the side here. There again, you can see it's darker back here. I'm not really sure why, but it is. We'll let that set a minute. We'll go turn it over, and we will do this side now. We'll let that set just for a second, and we'll let that soften up, and then we will go ahead and hit it again. I don't think I could get it any better. Okay, set that, just let that set a minute. See, then the only other piece that I have to do outside of that is this piece right here, which is the top. You can see how this process right here is so much quicker than stripping the old finish off. Now I get it. There's times you have no choice but to do the entire piece. But that is not the case on this. That is really turning out great. Let's go ahead and do this again. You can see how that stuff soaked right in there. It wood is so dry. Okay, now we're going to take my rag again and we're going to wipe the residue off these parts. What I mean by that is just the stuff that's still on there, we're going to wipe it off. You're not supposed to leave that set on very long. The neutral is a lot more forgiving than some of the other because there's no color in it. But the stuff that has the color in it would be a lot less forgiving. Now let's coat it down with the wax, whatever you call this stuff, feeding wax. It feeds the wood and it waxes the wood. And by feeding, I mean it absorbs into those pores and grains, and it treats that wood in a way that it should have been treated over the years. But let's set this to the side for a few minutes. It's got a little stronger smell, so that tells me it's just a little bit more potent than what the other was, and probably because the other set so long without that plug. But yeah, this is turning out extra nice. So you can see it there. Okay, let's get a rag. Let's use this one. Let's wipe that excess off. I won't have to go buy any more. This rag is really saturated with it, so we'll finish treating the backside. It didn't get the line completely out, but it got the high stuff off, make it look a lot better. We are going to try to demonstrate on this piece right here. Okay, let's go at it. Get a clean rag, and what you do is you just wipe the residual or the excess off. Just keep going around until you get it off. You can see what that's doing. It's bringing out the shine. Let's turn it over and wipe up any excess on the back side so we don't get it all over. Now I'm going to show you the process, the final step process. The orange oil, what I like to do is saturate my towel. I don't spray that directly on the product. It may be in the instructions like that, but then I just wipe everything down with this orange oil. And what that does is it just puts that last final little shine to that old finish. And go at it and just polish it right up then. So I'm curious, what do you think? That almost dries that shiny. And tomorrow, after this sets a day, I will go ahead and do it again. Or I may wait until I get it all reassembled and then put my final coat on. But didn't that turn out pretty nicely? I mean, you can see some of the flaws in it, but for Pete's sakes, that's what it's all about. When we as people and individuals go through life, we get a little bit of wear and tear put on us too, and we're never going to be perfect again, but we can sure be restored. All we need is the right person to come along beside us and share with us what really matters in life. And that's what my projects are about. Sure, I fix stuff, but if you're not getting the idea that these projects are more than just fixing, then I haven't done a very good job on doing what I'm doing. But I fix because I believe people can be fixed if they need it, and we all need it, actually. There's not a one of us exempt from the hard knocks of life. That's what I'm trying to say. So there's the piece, and we'll finish this up on the rest of them, and then when it comes to assembly, I will bring it back in and show you what we end up with. Let's see if we can't put this thing together. Let's see here. We'll go at it, and this one goes here. And what I'm doing is trying to put these hinges on right here. Let's see. Yeah, that goes there. Putting these things together after you've had them apart like this is, yeah, it's a lot like putting a puzzle together. I like putting puzzles together though. Yep, I see right now these three little tiny washers right here came off of one side. You can't see them, but I'm pretty sure they go right here. So what I'm gonna do is take this out, put them in there, put that back in, and there we go. Now what screws does this take? Got these little bitty screws, and we're gonna put this on. Putting things together like this, you risk putting something together that is not grabbing very good. I wonder why. Let's try another one. Maybe they're not the right screws. That one grabbed. We may have to use a little trick on this. Okay, I'm going to teach you a little trick. As you take some glue like this right here, well, maybe, there we go, and you put a little glue on a toothpick. And you put it down in the hole, you just break it off. It flipped out. Let's put her back down there. And you take your screw and you run that in. And the idea of it is that extra wood in there forces the screw to grab a hold, and the glue holds everything in place once it sets. Yeah, an old Finnish carpenter taught me that trick, and I've used it over the years. It seems to work. Once I get this all back together again, we'll go over it one more time with Restore a Finish. Yeah, that's nice and tight now. I'm not even going to try this one. I'm just going to go ahead and put the toothpick in there. But I started saying, you know, this is like putting a puzzle together. But unlike a puzzle, sometimes on things like this, you end up putting something together and then you end up taking it apart because, well, frankly, something just didn't work right. Now, I think the next step is to mount this to the big base. Okay, now let's get the hoodie over here and see how that works. I'm running this center screw down right here. Let's get this in place. I won't tighten it up until I get the others at least where they're supposed to go. Okay, that is lining up. Now, what screw would that be? Is it that one? It's going in at kind of an angle. It seems to be going in, so we'll let that go. We got this one and this one. And let's put those in. Boy, I hope I'm putting this together correctly. See these little rings here? There's one here and here. That's where the belt goes through, and then through two holes. Well, that shined up nice. And when I go at it and do it again, you can just see what that's going to look like. Yes, sir. Okay, now I have these hinges here. We're almost done with this. It just takes a little bit of time on this stuff. And patience. Patience. I would have went broke as a doctor. You know why? I just thought this one up too, because I wouldn't have any patience. Funny, right? That screw is not going in, so let's work on these. My heart is 25 and my body is 70. That's pretty sad. You know what I ought to do? I ought to just start a new business at age 70. What could I do? I could go back into the construction business. I know I'd make some money. You know, I'd have to quit my hardware job because I couldn't do both of them. I'm not good enough at it. I don't remember those coming out quite that hard. But that does carry quite a bit of weight on it, doesn't it? So you don't want those to come out of there. I wonder if those went into a little hole down in this top and it's not quite lined up, so I'm cutting new ones. I bet that's what it is. Oh well, such is life. How many of you ever watched Vice Grip Garage? That's a YouTube channel. He's got a lot of subscribers. He'll be working away like this, and out of the blue he would say something like, oh, I wonder what, and he'd come up with a name, somebody you've heard of. Oh, I wonder what Forrest Gump's doing today. Huh. and then he'll go on his work. I think that kind of makes his viewers stop and think a little bit. It does me. He's a great guy. I can't even tell you. It's Derek, I think it is. Nice family, what it looks like as they show you that. Well, let's get this other piece on here if we can. I'm kind of wondering how I'm going to do that. There we go. Let's get one in. Let's get some of this goobly goop on it. See if we can't get one started. And then that would hold it in place, at least so it doesn't fall down on me. I wonder what my UK guys, friend's doing today. He works on old equipment similar to mine. I put him in my feed once. Yep, if I think about it, I'll drop a link in the description to his channel. You might want to check it out. I'll just make sure I do that because he's a great guy. I don't mind giving him a little support. Got another guy in the UK too. He's another great guy. He goes by Rusty Inventions. If you have not checked out his channel, he's a real slow talker. He's very meticulous in what he does, and just somebody out there trying to do something in his shop, and he likes to bring his audience along. He's another great guy. There's a lot of good channels out there. I got one in Pennsylvania that is organic and he's farming, and Nature's Way, I think, is the name of his channel. If I think about it, I'll drop these links in my description. I don't mind doing that. And they're good guys. If you're listening to this and you want me to drop your name, let me know. Comment down below. Tell me, give me a shout out too, Marv. I'd like a shout out. Don't be afraid to ask. Yeah, don't be afraid to ask. I got someone in Southern California that puts out a video that it relaxes you. I mean, I can't say it any other way. I mean, it's something you'd put on very softly at night maybe, and you just let yourself fall asleep to it, and something about it just kind of messes with your mind some, and it just makes you feel a lot better. If I think about it, I'll put her link in the description too. Boy, I better write all these down if I'm gonna do all that. That one's going in a bit hard. I'll let her rest there for a minute. I found out that if you let screws rest just a little bit, something happens with the wood, and next time you go to it, it just goes in a little easier. You might have noticed that on this one over here that I struggled with. I couldn't turn it at all. Or was it over here? I don't remember. It was somewhere. But just about got this thing put back together. I have to find out where that one little block of wood went, though, don't I? But I'll figure out where this goes. It's got 2 screw bolts in it, and there has to be 2 little holes here somewhere where this goes down in. And I know it's down in here somewhere because I remember taking it off. The problem is, when did I do that? Yesterday or the day before? I forget where. That's why I need to write stuff down, I guess. See if I can get this one a little bit more. Let me figure out where this goes and... Oh, I see! I found it! It goes right here. I found the 2 holes and I know what it's for now. That's to let that hinge come out easily. You can't see this, I know, but it goes right here. I found it. I found it. I remember once in school, I was walking down the hall. It's probably in the 4th grade, maybe, and the principal, he was down at the other end of the hall, and there's this kid walking beside me, and all of a sudden, all I heard was the principal yelling, and the next thing I heard is he says, "Grab your ankles." And before I knew what was happening, that kid got a whipping. Yeah, they used to give us whippings in school with a big board. They called them paddles. Made them in shop class and tested them out on each other. Man, that was the days. And whoever had the biggest stripe on their backside, he was the coolest guy ever. Yep, boy, we'd get blistered so hard that you'd get a welt in your hind end that would stick up. It seemed like it'd stick up a half an inch. Never hurt us. Sure scared us though. Yeah, there was some kids that got whippings more. I survived all the way to junior high. And then finally it caught up with me. Poor teacher. She said, "Marvin, come out in the hall. I'm going to give you a whipping." She got her paddle, and she was so short. And she was crying because she had to give me a whipping. And I was laughing. And she gave me as hard a whack as she possibly could. But what she didn't know is my parents gave me whippings, and those whippings were a lot worse than what she could ever deliver me. So that felt like a walk in the park. Considering. Okay. What we're going to do is go at it, and I'm going to rub this thing down again and let it set so this can really absorb in again. Maybe tomorrow we'll get in here and we'll finish this thing up. Yeah, I kind of laugh about those whippings now, but in retrospect, I feel sorry for the teacher. We called her Mrs. McClung, and she was a sweet lady. She cared for us, and she tried to teach us, and I just wasn't very nice to her, and I know that now. And if I'd have it to do over again, I'd probably do the same thing I did, but maybe not. If I didn't know any better, I probably would. I didn't know any better. I guess I did kinda, but what do you think, guys? We'll finish this up tomorrow. I think this turned out pretty good. I got her back together, didn't I? We'll let that oil, the residual oil from this rag, just set on here and absorb into that wood a little bit more. And then I'm going to go at it and put this on again. But I just want this to set. I'm even going to let this set on top, so at least that part of it can soak in. And this rag is almost wringing that, and I'm going to put that right here, and we'll just let that soak in. Let me let this set, and we'll come back in and we'll finish this up tomorrow. We may even put that base on. I don't know. I haven't assembled it yet. I'm still mad at myself for busting that treadle. Let's get right back to it and see if we can't get that thing shined up. Told you that this is the next process. I'm going to bring you right in so you can see what I'm doing. Now with this product here, I've always liked to just spray it on the rag first. I don't know if that's the directions I got or if I heard that's online or what, but maybe it says back here. Spray a small amount on a soft cloth and wipe on the wood surface. Yep, that's where I got it. Let's see how it does. It says spray a small amount on there. So let's just soak this rag. And let's go over this thing. Let's just put this stuff on there like that. I don't know. You think this would look better stripped? Let me know what you think. Just drop me a line down there if you think about it. I'd really like to know if you think I should have stripped it or not. I don't know. I kind of like this, but let's get some of this junk out of my way. What? Why am I so... Jeeper willikers. Look at all this junk I had in my way. I want to finish this. Okay. Hey, by the way, I pulled this out of the basement of the old hardware. I think I'm going to de-rust this and paint it all real nice. What do you think? Do you think that would look good? Almost looks like a lion's face, doesn't it? I showed you this a while back, but I never really did anything with it. Maybe I'll do that after I'm done with this cabinet. What do you guys think? Should I do this next? Let me know. I also got these rusty parts with it also. I might just do all of it. Let's finish the thing up. I say let's finish it, but you know, I haven't done the drawers yet. But the drawers will get the same process as this. And I will do them probably just before I put the thing back together. Show it in another video. Okay, there's my saturated rag. There's that stuff. It's still soaking into the wood like crazy. And I want to come over here and get a clean rag. And what I like to do after this point is just wipe it down really good. Get the extra residue off and just let it set. Oh, yeah. I think it's looking really good for as old as it is and as bad as the finish was on here. Okay, there's the finished product. What do you think, guys? Do you like that? Did it turn out the way you thought it should? What do you think? I think it looks really good. Just, I can't believe how much it soaked that wax. That, what was it called? I got it here somewhere. This feed-in wax in. And it could use some more, and I may give it to her later on. It's just a good product to use around the house, and on old stuff like this, it soaks right in. My question for you is, have you ever done anything like this? If you have, tell me about it. If you like my videos and want to support my channel, please subscribe. If you like videos like this, stay tuned, and there's a couple that'll be showing right here that you may enjoy. Click on them. And also, can it be fixed? Sure it can. Can you fix it? You're darn right you can. Until the next one.